So, the one show on TV that will constantly talk about the WNBA is Undisputed, because they realize, this is, to be fair, Colin Cowherd does as well, but Colin Cowherd talks about it purely from the standpoint of, well, them leaving Caitlin Clark off this Team USA is dumb. Which, to be fair, I'm like, if they win, they win. Who really cares at the end of the day? I don't think they're going to really care too much. But, man, Undisputed, Keyshawn and Skip Bayless, I'm convinced have never watched a game. Before we get on to it, if you guys are new to the channel, subscribe. We are trying to hit 25.3 or 4K, 32 off, or 3 4K, 32 off. But if we can do that by the end of the day, that would be insane. But anyway, what has happened now is we have got Skip Bayless and Keyshawn, who I'm convinced have not watched it. So they were talking about the whole Dawn Staley situation, where Dawn Staley basically said if the team was picked now, that by saying Caitlin Clark would be in high consideration, I think she's probably saying would have made the team. Because I think if the team was picked now, look, they would have brought another point guard. Even if they believe Chelsea Gray is the point god, we saw today, her passing was exceptional. She can't move. Like, she can't run. And that's not a knock on Chelsea Gray's ability as a basketball player. It is pointing out that right now she can't run. But basically, what Keyshawn said is, looking at the team, she goes, at the time, Caitlin Clark wasn't better than any of the 12. And I mean, I think you could maybe make that argument at the time in the season. I don't think it was true, because up to that point, she was definitely playing better than Taurasi. Up to that point in the season, she was definitely playing better than Kelsey Plum. And up to that point in the season, Chelsea Gray had not seen the floor. If you could have said that hypothetically, that was Caitlin Clark's peak, and that you wanted to bring Taurasi for experience, and that Chelsea Gray was going to come back and be Chelsea Gray, then fair enough. Fair enough. But then he went and said, Keyshawn said, if the team was picked right now, she's still not one of the best 12 players in the WNBA. I think even Caitlin Clark's biggest hater that's actually watching the games and not people that are just there to hate Caitlin Clark. Like, you can, if you are listing the best players in the WNBA and you have Caitlin Clark listed below 12 this season, you are crazy. You are crazy. Like, players that are without doubt, head and shoulders, not without head and shoulders, but like without doubt better than Caitlin Clark. And I'm not talking about just based on form this season, but better players. A'ja Wilson, Breanna Steward. That's it. That is it. And there's almost, for me, there is no argument you can make for, like, you can make absolutely no argument that any of Jewel Lloyd, Chelsea Gray, Sabrina Ionescu, no, say not Sabrina Ionescu, you can make the argument Sabrina, Jewel Lloyd, Chelsea Gray, Kelsey Plum, Diana Taurasi, and that's probably it. I don't think you can make the argument that any of them right now are better than Caitlin Clark. And then Skip Bayless was talking about, would Caitlin Clark make the team? And this was his logic. He literally goes, I think Caitlin Clark might be a good fit because she'd be happy just passing the ball to all the other superstars. I don't think she really needs to score. But, you know, Caitlin Clark's meant to be the female Steph Curry, and she's not shooting the ball particularly well. And it's like, well, I mean, she's not shooting well, so you can't bring her. Their point guard shoots 23% from three. Their point guard shoots 23% from three, and their backup point guard, Jewel Lloyd, shoots 26% from three. As bad as Caitlin Clark has been, she's shooting significantly better than their 2 point guards right now. And it's gotten to the stage where, again, they're playing Kelsey Plum. To be fair, if you want to say Kelsey Plum's their backup point guard, she plays the 3 for her team. She wasn't even the point guard when their point guard was out. She never runs the 1 for her team, but obviously she's now having to play the 1. But yeah, it's so annoying listening to people that aren't watching the games talking about it, because the reason why Caitlin Clark did not make this team was nothing to do with her basketball. It was because they didn't want Caitlin Clark to be a distraction. It was nothing to do with basketball, because if it was to do with basketball, they would not have named it. They would not have named a team when Chelsea Gray still was not even doing, like, Chelsea Gray, by the way, was doing stationary exercises and immediately went into playing. Like, she did not, what she should have realistically done was, as someone who has had an Achilles injury, a bad foot injury, By the time you are fully healed, it's still another couple of months till you can really run hard. Like, you can still run a bit. Like, you can go out and play low level, like what I did for a while. I started playing low level ball. Never, like, really recovered enough to play it the way I did. I played low level ball, kind of jogged, was at no risk of an injury, and was good. I was fine. Like, I was cool with that. But you can't go from the stationary exercise which she was doing when she was questionable to going flat out in a game because she can't run. Like, she can't run. If Team USA were picking a team based on merit, they would have picked 11 players. They would have literally stopped it at 11. They would not have announced their full team. They would have done what other countries do and announced 18 players. You announce 18 players, but they couldn't because of the All-Star game. You should have announced 18 players. You should have announced 12 that you had on your team. You should have had Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, Ariel Atkins, Bree Jones, and I'm trying to think what other guard they could have brought in. Arike dropped out, so you couldn't bring Arike. Bring Natasha Cloud, because you'd probably want another point guard there. And then I would bring Angel Reese. I would call that the 18. And that scrap the whole USA All-Star game. Have a proper All-Star game. And then have like a quote-unquote training camp for a week. Because you have a week, and then you can pick your team. Have your team pick before that. But just say, okay, yeah, we're going to play one pregame. Everyone's going to play, and we're going to pick our team before that. And then the team would be quite different if they did that. But they didn't. They didn't, and that is the unfortunate thing that that happened with this team. They're good enough that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like, it does not matter whether Caitlin Clark plays or Caitlin Clark doesn't. It will have to be a miracle, an absolute miracle for France to win. And France are the only team that have a chance. Like, Julie Allemande is so big for Belgium, and her being missing means Belgium have no chance. As great as Emma Miesemann is, they lost to Germany. Niara Sabally could be out for the rest of the Olympics. I don't know. I think she could have been shook. Like, when you get a hit to the jaw, she could have just been shook. She could be fine, but that could be either concussion or a broken jaw. If it's one of those two, she's out, and Germany don't have any chance. Like, it's France or bust, and I don't think France are good enough to do it. So, and also Team USA have Stewie and Aja Wilson. You could show up with, like, you could play Erica Wheeler at the point and they'd still win. I'm not joking. They could have brought Erica Wheeler. As bad as Erica Wheeler's been, you could have brought Erica Wheeler and you would still win. But when you're talking about the whole situation, there's no point just completely making up stuff. That one, at this point, Caitlin Clark is not better than anyone on this team. There is no debate. And I think even her biggest hater, like, right now, again, if you want to argue the point that pre-injury Chelsea Gray is better than this version of Caitlin Clark, I don't agree, but there's an argument there to be made. If you're trying to argue that Chelsea Gray, who cannot run, and, like, you know what? I'm not questioning the basketball ability. What Chelsea Gray did today without the ability to run was unbelievable, by the way. Like, 13 assists, her passing was spectacular. But she can't stay in front of a parked car. And she can't really push the floor. But she can throw ahead. Like, she's an elite passer. And the level that she's playing at, while still clearly injured, is impressive. Is genuinely impressive. But, yeah. And also the fact that, as good as Kelsey Plum was, clearly she's not a point guard. And the team really doesn't look good without Chelsea Gray on the floor. But they just needed that other point guard, whether it be Caitlin Clark, whether it be Natasha Cloud, whether it be Skylar Diggins-Smith. They just needed that second point guard and to look at their best. But they're going to win anyway. Who cares? It doesn't really matter, but just don't. Just don't make stuff up when you're clearly not watching the games. Skip Bayless literally being like, oh yeah, she'd be the perfect passer, but, like, she's shooting a low percentage. But yet their point guard, again, shot 1 of 5 from the field and 0 of 3 from wide open threes. Like, and that's not an issue. And she's their only point guard. But again, it isn't an issue because I thought Chelsea Gray played well today. I thought she genuinely played well today. So, look, it is what it is, but it's so obvious that they're not watching. But yeah. Anyway, that's the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.